Good morning, this is Sean Schwanner, the Hope Works. As we face this coronavirus pandemic and people begin to lose hope, as people feel stress and anxiety over their everyday life, start to feel alone, start to feel as if the future may be bleak, I think that in some ways we actually have a gift before us. I'm not saying that a person's getting sick or a person's passing away is a blessing. It is not. Most certainly it is not. But for those of us who are healthy, for those of us who have overcome this situation, for those of us who have maintained relationships, maintained our jobs, for those of us who have not, there's still opportunity that exists out there. The world that we once understood, the world that we once knew has changed before our very eyes. In 2008, they called it the Black Swan. I think, once again, the Black Swan has flown over our heads and has changed the way in which we live. The voices of the past are screaming at us, and our ears are listening to a foundational work of change is necessary. That when we take a look at the frustration that people are having on the margins, protesting in the different countries, or the states, protesting in different countries, even our protests in our daily life, I think that we're actually overlooking the fact that this is a moment of change. This is a moment of recharge. It's time to really reset our lives. One of the things that we're probably not doing too much of is doing personal inventories. Probably not taking a look at putting our house in order, the financial house, our philosophical house, our familial house. And I know the familial house is changing because I continue to read that the domestic violence rate on a global level, a state level, national level has certainly seen an increase, which reflects a lot of things. One, it reflects a breakdown in the social order, correct? When Emile Durkheim wrote in his treatise that anomie exists when there's massive social change or massive breakdown, people will in fact adapt to those changes. Robert K. Merton noted that when there's massive change in the institutional order, that is the way in which people are accustomed to behaving, they will adapt, they will innovate, they will retreat, they'll rebel, or they'll engage in ritualism. I think that this is a time for us to collectively build our relationships with one another. It's a time where we can actually let hope guide us into a future time. It's a place where we can use hope to actually structure a plan, and then we can develop our relationships with other people to execute the plan. So I'd like to take a look at this just a little bit differently as the next few days pass, how to take a look at our financial lives. How do we build that? How do we build that when we've lost our job? How do we build that when we receive a stimulus package? How do we find employment when there's no employment out there? How do we confront this before the pandemic even hit? We're already taking a look at robotics. We're already taking a look at artificial intelligence. We're taking a look at automation and a digital economy that was replacing our old way of doing things. So as it stood, we already were in a place where change was necessary. I think that so often our education system is worried about the concepts in a textbook that we're often in FCAT exams and annual exams to see how much money is going to be dedicated to our public schools, that we actually forget about entrepreneurialism. We forget about taking a look at what makes us great inside. What are those type of things that we can use as far as personal inventory so that we might be able to make a better day out of what seems like a calamity? Yes, we're facing some significant changes. All of us are. I am, you are, our friends, our family, and I pray that your family is safe. I pray that your family is healthy. However, I also think that the education system has not equipped us with an entrepreneurial spirit. It has not equipped us to regularly go through and provide ourselves with inventory of who we are, what our skills are, what are the trends that are coming down the road, and how can we take our abilities, our desires, our capabilities, our networks, the people that we know, our relationships, and actually develop resources so that we can put ourselves in the trend rather than get running over by the trend. So as we take a look out into the future, I would like to start a series called Hope Works. And what we'll do with Hope Works is we'll deal with things such as personal inventory. We'll take a look at how do we manage our financial lives? How do we stand up from where we are right now, where we can't even leave our homes except to go get food at the local Target or the grocery store or food bank? How do we stand right here and build a new life? I built a new life several times over. As some of you know, I survived what they call childhood trauma. There are 10, according to Nadine Burks, Dr. Nadine Burks, there are 10 traumas in childhood. And I experienced 7 of those traumas, and I'm still here as a full-time professor who is tenured. And based upon coming out of the situation I came from, I know for a fact that basically anybody can overcome anything. And what I'd like to do is take these passions, these energies, this desire to overcome, and share it with you over the next few days, the next few months, the next few years. This is Hope Works, and please remember that with hope, it's possible.